Now it's just pray we live 2 rounds and then go to 9, I guess, because it's too late now. I blew too much gold. Seriously, this Lux just deletes everything. I might be dead. These Luxes, man. I don't know what's going on with these Luxes.
Me, Garen, every game. Don't worry.
It is absolutely a Demacia meta next patch.
So even though Mort said that jokingly, I honestly think Demacia will take over the next patch, especially through this insane Garen comp that is extremely easy to play and will dominate your lobby. The itemization for this board is extremely simple because of the radiant items from Demacia and the bonuses provided by Master Yi's augments pumping up and gotta go fast. The fact that Garen, even at 2-star, can steamroll these boards in this setup is bonkers. So in this video, I'll show you how to get that setup started. But why is this setup so powerful? What is it about these traits that's so important? And why are these Master Yi augments so essential? Before that, make sure you subscribe and let me know what you think about this guide in the comments. Okay, so what makes this comp so oppressive? Well, firstly, I want you to look at this comp and guess how many tanks and carries there are. Did you get it? The answer is 3. There are 3 tanks and 3 carries. The carries are obviously Garen, Lux, but who's the third? It's not Teemo, it's not Sona. Surely it's Heimer then? Nope, it's the Apex turret. Teemo, Sona and Heimer won't have any items, while the Apex turret can have 3 powerful upgrades. This turret will deal a huge amount of damage and provide an insane amount of utility. So that means you only need 4 items to have 3 carries, as Lux and Garen will have a radiant item from Demacia. Okay, so who's the third tank? There's obviously Nasus and Jarvan, but surely Garen isn't the third tank, right? No, he is, even without any tank items. And that's due to the tankiness from Titans and BT, but also the armor and MR from Demacia. At max Titan stacks, Garen will be mitigating 55% of any physical and magic damage he takes, but then he further reduces that damage through Juggernauts. That means Garen will be reducing the damage he is taking by at least 62% and up to 66%. For a damage carry, that is actually ludicrous, and this Garen carry is just unreasonably tanky. But I think the biggest strength to this comp is the sheer simplicity of it. For example, your legend choice is always Master Yi, and your 2-1 and 4-2 augments are always the same. The items you build are just as simple and consistent from game to game, as you'll see later. Lux also has inbuilt magic resist shred, so even a Lux 1 is very stable in the early to mid game, and all of these traits easily enable the carries. Yordle provides attack speed, Strategist gives AP and a shield, Demacia gives resistances and a radiant item, and Sona will also provide a lot of attack speed, especially with multicaster. This makes playing this comp equally as easy, as all you need to do is roll down at 7, hit Garen 2 and a Lux, then you're stable enough to go 8. If you're in a close spot to Garen 3, then you can go for it. Otherwise, you can just go 9 and pivot into a much stronger legendary comp, which I'll show you later. Anyway, this board has a mixture of burst, DOT, AoE, and single target damage between all of the carries. This combined with the instant bonuses from pumping up and got to go fast mean that this comp will rapidly ruin boards in the blink of an eye. This comp has got to be one, if not the easiest comp to play in this set, and the requirements to play this comp are almost non-existent. So let's talk about the items. As I mentioned, Garen always wants BT and Titans, but you can't guarantee these items every game, so the alternative to BT is Hextech Gunblade, and the alternative to Titans can be Giant Slayer, but you really want to be building Titans. Also, anecdotally, I like these items on Garen, as from my experience, his Demacian items will never roll Radiant Titans or Radiant BT. So you have a higher chance of rolling better Radiant items like Radiant Giant Slayer, Guardbreaker or Last Whisper. Lux's itemization is less specific, where she wants 1 mana item and 1 AP item. I think blue buff is way better than Shojin on Lux, as she'll cast more often, and you can't roll Radiant blue buff. Honestly, you'd be surprised at how easy it is to itemize Lux and Garen with their ideal items, and that's due to how dissimilar the components for these items are. For example, there is no overlap whatsoever with BT Titan's Garen and blue buff Jeweled Gauntlet Lux, which I consider to be best in slot for both of these units. Then with 5 Demacia, they'll get a Radiant item with a lot of tankiness on top. And you don't need anti-heal and armor or MR shred because of Heimerdinger's turret. So the overall itemization becomes even more simple. For the turret, I think the best upgrades are double Meccano and 1 Shrinko. With 2 Meccano upgrades, the turret will be dealing more damage with the AP from Strategist. And Shrinko comes in clutch for both Garen and Lux as they start running into Giga tanks. Although I wouldn't recommend more than 1 Shrinko on this turret. You could have 1 Goldinator instead of 1 Meccano, but I think double Meccano is just way too good. Also, I think Reparo is never worth it because you can just give more armor and MR through Demacia anyway. So I think that 2 Meccanos and a Shrinko can maximize the damage on this board. Now, I should mention that Heimerdinger shares any attack speed and AP he has with this turret. So I think aura items like Zeke's and Chalice are amazing for Heimerdinger as the turret will gain double the bonus. But Chalice is definitely far superior as you can give the AP to the turret and Lux. Of course, the turret is gaining double the Chalice AP and Heimer gains bonus starting mana. But Lux getting some extra AP can make up for a low roll on your Radiant item. The tank items for Nasus and Jarvan can be whatever, but I personally really like Warmogs, Bramble, and especially Redemption on Nasus. Redemption is another source of healing for Garen and is really nice burst protection for your frontline. Lastly, late game, you can use units like Poppy, Teemo, and Sona to juggle items like Shroud and Zephyr. So why should you always take Master Yi's augments at 2-1 and 4-2, and why haven't I talked about what augments you take at 3-2? Well, because I'll talk about it now. Well, these augments are essential for this comp due to their astronomical value. Pumping Up is a scaling augment that means you do not need Rageblade whatsoever in this comp, although you will have a weak board early game so you can easily find yourself losing pretty heavily. But don't worry, that's normal with Yi. 4-2 will be where your board spikes tremendously because of Gotta Go Fast. All of your units are moving much faster and catching much more often. Remember that the strength of this comp is how fast you can win combats due to instantly having loads of raw power. And that's kind of why Yi's 3-2 augment isn't that good for this board. You get more damage out of augments like Jeweled Lotus and Know Your Enemy, and the damage reduction isn't that impactful because your frontline already has Juggernaut active, so getting more is a little redundant. It's definitely great for your backline, but who cares if your backline is tanky? I much prefer augments like Transfusion because you may have low HP due to having a weaker board in the early game as Pumping Up scaled. Any extra HP for your Juggernauts make them incredibly tankier. Basically, there are other augments that provide more value than Battle Ready. Even Gargantuan Resolve is better as you get a free Titan's Resolve and you significantly increase the damage from this item. You can even take Econ or non-combat augments if you want to. In this game, I decided to take Salvage Bin so I could preserve as much HP as possible by slamming my items now. And it worked, as I won the game with 5 HP left. A little close for comfort, but yeah, you get the point, right? I personally think you only take Battle Ready if your other choices are very poo-poo. Anyway, let's briefly cover portals because I honestly think there are no portals that are bad for this comp. For example, even though this comp doesn't really care for spats, Bandle City Cafeteria is fine because you can make a Sork spat on Jarvan so Garen can get beefier. Likewise, you can use Placidium Library for a Sork spat or a Strategist spat. Item portals are amazing, Econ portals are great, reroll portals are good too, and getting Prismatics is also... Wait, oh I forgot this existed. Oh yeah, avoid this at all costs, this portal just cancels the entire comp. But buff Stillwater, any portals are fine. Also, if you get an additional team slot or it's Godwillow's Grove, then you can play Taric to enable Sork and Bastion and have him soak up a lot of damage from Garen and Nasus. Of course, the biggest issue with this comp is that it's not really flexible due to the augments that you need to take. But there are higher cost units that also adore these augments, one of which is Aatrox. Any extra AD Aatrox has will be treated as his base AD, and with his passive, the attack speed bonus from Pumping Up will multiply all of that AD, which results in huge damage numbers from Aatrox. and the mana bonus from Gotta Go Fast will keep him casting and sustaining. Anyway, Ari and Senna also love these augments because they will cast extremely frequently, as they both have mana generation through their traits and they have high base attack speeds. So if you're looking for a comp with a higher ceiling than the Garen Lux comp with the same Yi augments, then you should have these 6 units as your core. The last 3 units can be whatever you want, but I think it's Shen, Karma and Cassante. Everyone on this board loves movement speed, attack speed and mana generation, so they will all be casting numerous times. Although, I should mention that Aatrox really wants QSS because CC can make him completely useless. I honestly hope Garen and this comp gets nerfed as soon as possible because the mid-set finale will be on this patch. And I think the win rate of Garen will skyrocket, especially in a competitive environment where the best players will be able to optimize this comp even more so. I think Ivy Fernando sums it up perfectly. Garen doesn't need this buff as this comp is now extremely forceable and it's really easy to pull off. In this comp, Garen is as stable as a 2-star 4 cost and that just isn't acceptable. But yeah, hopefully this video was helpful and you see the power of this Garen Lux comp. At this point, I don't even know how to counter this comp. So, what do you guys think? Are there any counters to this comp? Will it truly be a Demacia meta? And do you think this comp will plague the mid-set finale? Let me know in the comments and remember to subscribe. Anyway, check out these other videos if you want to see more from me. And as always, thank you for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.